Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Chat About Death. A very different intro today, just because I like it. It's from Interstellar. So for those people that have ever watched that, you'll know exactly what the track is. I'm joined by, once again, Annie. So put your hands together for Annie. Yes, it's lovely. It's like I'm thinking, I'm just expecting that there's other people in this room besides you and me.
I was waiting for the button.
So was I. I'm thinking, shouldn't I be pressing a button?
I love everyone.
So what are we going to be talking about today?
Today we're going to be talking about the science of death. So we're going to be delving into what happens when you die.
Yeah.
Scientifically, not afterlife and everything like that.
Yeah.
Processes of decomposition and stages and how different circumstances affect those stages.
Beautiful. All right. Well, do you want to start off with something? Yeah.
I was hoping you would.
I guess it all comes down to, where someone has passed at the time and what conditions are around them will play a big thing to anybody breaking down. So obviously if you're in a very moist type area or, especially foresty type areas in a home, where not much sunlight goes there, you're probably more likely to have mold and mildew around.
Does that happen if you pass away in a particularly humid area?
Oh yeah, humid can be like that too. Yeah, very much so. The other thing it all comes down to as well is what other factors like are you in an area of where rodents and everything are, like animals? And did you pass outside? Did you pass inside? Like lots of things with that. We did talk about in one episode about body farms. And the whole purpose of body farms is to be able to determine how the body reacts to certain things when, or when it's exposed to these certain things. So, you could have 3 people that have passed away in the same location, but their body is going to react very differently to just how their body is made up, what medication that they may have been on at the time, and what did that person eat? I know that sounds a little bit weird, but if they've had something that's really acidy or they've had something that's really spicy and things like a spicy meatball, then, it's more likely that the body will start to decompose quicker in the stomach.
And because I just learned this, the first sort of stages of decomposition include self-digestion. So
that sounds interesting, doesn't it? Yeah.
So I guess your body reacting with whatever's already in your stomach that it's digesting, and also,
The thing is too is that you can't, it's acid, and when the body is not fighting for itself anymore, that acid just doesn't, oh yeah, we'll just let it go. No. It'll start to. The whole reason why it doesn't attack your stomach wall is because the body's got that barrier up. Same with the bowel. As soon as that happens, then it's like, the body will start to internally break down. And a lot of families have had, when you hear of multi-organ failure, all those type of things is when the body is starting to break down before the person has even passed away. The kidneys aren't working, the liver's not working, this isn't working. Then the brain goes into meltdown and says, hey, we've got to do something about this. We're going to shut everything down. So I think when it comes to because we do get asked, people say, oh, well, is death all the same? It's not. And I could see someone today that comes into our care and I think, oh, yeah, they look okay. I may not do the preparation that day, do the preparation the next day, and I come back and I go, yeah, maybe, that's happened very quickly.
And there's different things that you then have to do different things when you're doing the prep.
Yeah, my biggest thing is as soon as someone really comes into our care, we should be then prepping that person. But then, we've got to be mindful too that if we're going to be starting to aspirate someone or anything else like that we then don't get told that person needs to go to the coroners. That's the other big thing. Even though we're eager and we want to be able to lay that person to rest as quickly as we can, we've got to then be mindful of, things can happen. Doctors can write really some silly things on death certificates, and we've got one currently at the moment. Poor person was this man was in an aged care facility, and the doctors put some stupid thing on as a cause of death, which actually isn't a cause of death. It's just what would you call it? What would you call it? It's not a symptom, is it?
No, it's like is it like an antecedent cause or something like that?
Yeah.
It's provoked. It's something that has happened that is.
Yeah, it's not your kidney. It's not your heart and your lungs and all that that's failed. Like that should be your primary, and this is like your secondary cause. That these things happened because of X, Y, Z.
It's like when doctors put old age as a cause of death.
Yeah, well, I mean, who gives them the right to declare what's old and what's not?
Exactly.
Like person was 75, old age.
See, I look at a 70-year-old and go, young.
They're not. Yeah.
Young.
I reckon anything over really sort of 85 maybe I class that as
old age.
Elderly. Yeah.
So, the gentleman that we've got in at the moment.
Yep.
You were saying about before we got sidetracked.
Oh, really?
About how his cause of death was not an actual cause of death.
Oh, yes. Got to complete that.
Yes, you do. So what might happen to him now?
Yeah, so our government medical officer, or it's basically a secondary GP, will contact the doctor and ask questions in regards to, well, why did you put that on your certificate when there should be other things? Like, person goes into an aged care centre not just for the sake that they want to go into an aged care centre. There might be dementia, Alzheimer's, there might be, stroke or heart issues or mobility. There's got to be something more than just what they wrote.
Yeah.
It's something as silly as, choked. Like, you might as well just go, well, choke, but you're in care. Like, so how does that happen? That type of what are you doing to your microphone?
There's like
I'm hearing all this noise.
There's like this little paper tag, piece of elastic on the microphone.
Yeah. So
put my hands behind my back.
We've done the prep of him today, and we're just awaiting to see what the result is. Hopefully, he doesn't have to go to the coroners. And a lot of the time, they would do a scan to determine that. But by next week, he could be starting to turn. And what I mean by turn is he starts to decompose more and more. And look, colour of skin, the way the body relates to certain things. Like, there's a condition, I call it plasticine disorder, but it'll have another medical name, where you can actually press your finger and it'll stay in that person. How do you get rid of that? Well, normally you would use like warm water or something like that, and it'll at least ease it slightly. But that's all part and parcel of what people have had in their life, medication all those type of things will come into that. So science plays chemical science plays a huge role. They're great to help when people are alive, but when they pass, can play a big, a big issue in regards to how the body reacts after that. And bacteria is a big thing. Bacteria doesn't stop. It'll go, oh, no one's fighting us anymore. We
And
can
it'll
now,
continue to grow.
we'll just grow and grow and grow. That's where certain colours and smells and things like that will start to affect how our bodies are.
So do you have a brief explanation of what some colours that we commonly see versus what they mean? Because I know I've been told different things by different people in regards to some of the colours, and I still don't know what.
All right. Well, you tell me what you've been told, and I'll tell you if you're correct.
Green is releasing of tissue gas.
Yeah, sort of.
So what does green mean?
Green is...
Because it's always in the abdominal area.
Yeah. Green is bacteria. Green is you're going off. So if you go and put something in your fridge or keep a loaf of bread out for a period of time, what colour does it go?
Goes green.
Goes green. Gas, tissue gas and things like that. It's not saying that there's not part of the gas part of that, because you get people when their abdomen is very distended and we've got to release the air. But that all comes down to, what's in their stomach and things like that too. So green to me that's turning. You're turning off. Like your body is starting to, that bacteria has started to really start to affect things.
And there's always a real smell with green.
Yeah, green.
Green in my mind is synonymous with a not very nice smell.
No.
I see green, I go, that's not going to be good.
No, it's not good. And especially when you start moving them and things like that, because if there is any gas in there, it comes like, out. Think about this. I'm going to be pretty graphic here, but imagine holding on to a flatulence. One of those, right?
Yeah.
Like for a long time. Like imagine you squeezing your butt cheeks for a day, like a day, like, right? So just
you're on a first date.
Yeah. So you're holding that in. When you do release that, it's not going to smell too good.
No.
Because all the bacteria that you have in your bowel and your stomach,
it's like satin fermented.
It's yeah. And so, what was that?
It was
the chair. I'm thinking,
it was my shoe
like a dog
on the
going,
chair.
But yeah, it's not going to smell pretty. So green to me is bacteria that has now started to invade outside of where it should be.
Yep.
And that could be a breakdown of a bowel wall, could be the internal breaking down from the acid of the stomach. But that green can move. I've actually seen it keep going green up the body.
You've been
working on them. So yeah, green to me is that they're turning. That's we can treat some of that.
Yep.
What's the other? And there's different shades of green too. The darker green, like the emerald green.
I've not seen an emerald green.
Emerald green. Emerald green's like dark green. Like I'm just trying to think if there's anything around here in the room. No, probably not. But yeah, you got your lighter green, and then there's that dark tinge, nearly to the point of like black.
Yeah, I've not seen that. I've only really seen the lighter green.
Yeah.
Like the early stages.
So
is that the same?
That's like red light, green light.
Is it the same green? Well, I know it's not the same green, but is it the same cause? It's just further along in the process?
What are we talking about?
So the light green and the dark green, are they caused by the same thing?
Oh, it's just
give or take a week.
It means that it's more concentrated. in time.
Yeah.
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 Then you get the marbling of the skin.
Yeah.
The
Which-
ones that look like
They've been struck by lightning.
yeah.
I have to say, there are some parts of decomposition that are really, I mean, it's not nice.
No.
But some of it is really, it's like, it's beautiful, if that makes sense. Like it's this natural thing that happens, but the marbling is so interesting. It's so interesting.
Well, you were talking before about tissue gas, and I'm just trying to get the definite. You were right in regards to it's gangrene, right?
Yeah.
But that person would really need to be bad, like to
For it to
be able to build up that much. But once again, so the gas gangrene is a severe form of gangrene caused by the bacterium. And that incurs where then swelling and destruction of all the tissue. So things start to break down. Then they start to ferment. And go and put something in a bucket and leave it out in the sun for 3 days and see what it smells like after that.
I'd recommend not doing that.
Yeah,
I
but
think that's
tissue
not nice.
gas, you don't see a lot of it. Well, we don't at the moment, but touch wood. What's the bet? I put dollars down.
Yeah, next,
might-
the next
we
person
might.
you're going to get in.
So different stages, and then so we were saying about the marbling of the skin. So it looks like that. If you could picture all of your veins and arteries and all of that showing up just on the skin, that is once again, deterioration of your venous system. And that can have a lot to do with like chemo drugs, and ones are like steroid type drugs too. But then I've seen people too that have never really been on much medication in their life and have probably been the worst out of all of them against ones that have had these chemo drugs or immune therapy or even blood pressure tablets and things like that.
Do you know roughly how long into the decomposition process marbling occurs?
Oh, it can nearly happen instantly. Yeah. So, well, that's my experience. There's probably people out there that could be embalmed saying, "Oh, well, that's a lot of crap." In my experience of what I've physically seen, it can happen. Yeah, pretty much. It's just like rigor mortis. Someone could be only passed away for 10 minutes and their arms are stiffening. Like, it just depends on that body. And I think you've just got to look at it. Each case is different. It's but it's not. But marbling and things like that is you don't tend to get it on a lot of hands and things like that. It just tends to be on arms. Same as that plasticine type stuff. Faces can do that. Yeah. Which in one way, like if you prep the person and they're still, what do you call it, supple? That's soft, isn't it? Soft and squishy. If you prep them early and you set their features and then they turn that plasticine type of condition, that's perfect. Because they're not going to move. You know what I mean? Against someone that maybe maintains that softness, then you're having to deal with all sorts of things like hydration more than plasticine. Plasticine will pretty much stop most stuff. What other things have you?
Skin staining.
Yep.
When they go really red.
Yep. So what do you reckon that is? Have a think about.
I feel like it might be blood pooling.
Yeah. So if they've been laying on their side,
we see it a lot on their backs.
Yeah, because they've been laying on that. Yeah. And it'll be sort of like half body. white on the top and red down the bottom.
Sometimes there's a very distinct line.
Oh, yeah.
Like our gentleman, he's got a very distinct line.
Yeah. And then you get the ones where, have been laying on their ear or on the side of their face. Mm-hmm. Some of that you can massage out, and then some of it, if they've been laying on it for too long, you can't. Like it's like putting dye into something. It's going, oh, my God.
I remember I assisted with an embalming a few months back, and the gentleman that we were embalming had been laying on his side, so one of his ears was really, really purple, really purple, and the rest of his face one side of his face was purple, but specifically his ear, 'cause that's the lowest point.
Ears tend to be a big thing.
Yeah. And the rest of his face was just sort of his normal colour. And when we were doing the embalming, he already had a distinct difference, but there was like a perfect line in between. And so pretty much from his temple to his ear, we couldn't get completely regular coloured.
Yeah.
But the rest of his face and his other ear was. So he had just one pretty bright purple patch on the side of his head that we just couldn't get rid of.
No, and I think that, and it depends on when you do it too, like, and how long, they could have been laying at the coroner's, they could have been laying in a hospital for a week. Mm-hmm. Some families just don't get around to, advising people quick because they're having to deal with their own loss with that. So, yeah, embalming and things like that doesn't always, it's a 50-50. So, yeah. Yeah, well, all interesting. We're looking at each other like, Yeah, everything's very, very interesting. The science is a really big thing. A lot of people think the human body is something that's really easy, but it's not.
No.
Even just watching my kids going through their nursing training and stuff like that and looking at some of the anatomy and physiology, it's like, I thought I was pretty up with a lot of the stuff, but all these little arteries in the brain, and you go, oh, my God. Mm-hmm. And where they get the names from these things.
Why does everything have to have such complicated names?
No,
leg.
I
green,
broke my arm.
red.
Red.
I was looking at what the stages of decomp are called. I can't pronounce them.
No, they're just all fresh.
Yeah, fresh, bloated,
not so good. Soup.
Liquefied.
Yeah.
Skeletal.
Yeah. It's hard to describe to people out in podcast land, because unless you've seen it, it's really hard to really declare exactly how it is, because
and it's not like you could ever imagine.
No. Is there anything else through any other questions that you have, or think we're talking about colours and what do you reckon black means?
Been left in the toaster too long. No, that was bad. I'm sorry.
But you can't scrape that off.
No.
It's
black.
Not like you can get the toast and go.
Are we talking internal or external? Because
External.
I've seen.
Well, it would probably be both if it was black.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never
seen that?
No.
Oh, geez, you've got some learning to do.
I was going to say.
What's that? Is that a mole? No.
You know what I have done, which still to this day, removed a blackhead.
Wow.
And it was a big blackhead.
Yeah. But you could dig for days doing that.
Oh, yeah. We dug. We dug and dug.
Black is like dead. It sounds weird, but
no. I know what you mean. Like when you get frostbite and your toes turn black and they fall
black.
off.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like if you had the gangrene, and so the maximum gangrene that you're ever going to get is black.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gone.
Yeah. There's no
there's
salvaging
no recovery for that.
Mm.
The other thing that can happen too is skin starts to be removed.
Like skin slip.
Yeah.
Mm.
We tend to find that now everyone's probably going, ooh, but we tend to find with a lot of the elderly where they might have been on warfarin or other blood thinning things, and skin tends to go like paper thin. So you touch them. Once again, they don't have the body that's fighting for it anymore. And you might, you just pick up a hand and a little bit of skin moves.
Yeah.
You've got to be careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
Then that can lead to, obviously, once that skin is broken, you've got to then maintain it. It'll just keep coming off.
Yeah.
So skin slip is a very big thing, and it can happen to even the most meatiest people.
Mm-hmm. You don't just have to.
No, you don't have to be frail. Even when it comes to face, we try to hydrate skin as much as we can, but the skin's only going to take in what it needs. Mm-hmm. If it needs it, it'll take it. If they don't, it won't, or it'll just sit on top. Now, if you go and start rubbing that like hard, you're going to end up like taking eyebrows off and all sorts of things, because that's the body. The body's going, well, yes, I have been in a cool facility, but that doesn't stop my body slowly decomposing because it's cold. The only time that a body would completely stop is if it was snap frozen.
Yep. Like
you see the guys in Antarctica or whatever, where they've been, avalanches come, they've been smothered, and they find them, 300 years later.
And they're
in perfect condition. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like snap beans. It's like, how else do you describe it?
Do you think in that case do you think in that case they would break like glass? Like, I'm not saying I don't think skin would just snap apart, but bones and such that brittle after so long.
I think it would. Yeah, I think you would have to be very cautious what you did. Yeah, because it's, you see these guys or these fishermen where they'll be out to sea for a long period of time and they freeze the fish, and if they like the tail will come off if they mistreated or whatever, getting it out of the hull, So yeah, I reckon it's a possibility.
Yeah.
But then I think, well, how about the people that are getting cryogenic?
Oh yeah.
Get him out. Snap. Oh, oops. Yeah. We've got a cream for that.
That was another question that I had. So from what I saw online, the self-digestion typically starts around, that happens between 24 and 72 hours. What happens in the first half an hour? What happens in the first half an hour that warrants such urgency when it comes to putting them in the cryogenic pods? Because we were having a chat about this, I think.
You don't want the blood to clot.
Oh,
so they've got to be injected within, I think it was 5 or 10 minutes after they pass. They really need to stop the clots happening. But then I looked. I was watching a documentary once about cryogenics, and they said that they didn't do it. Like, they didn't do this injection. So I think it's trying to be able to hold them. So if in 100 years' time they want to bring that person back, that all they have to do is jumpstart them, so to speak. And then, because imagine that, coming back after 100 years and then having a stroke.
Yeah.
because you've had clots in your system.
Yeah.
So, or there's got to be a way of being able to flush your blood, like a dialysis maybe. So I think maybe that's how these other organisations are able to do that. But yeah, you have to be injected. You have to be on ice by a certain period of time. Then you go into one of these pods with dry ice. It's a really cool process, like when you see it. And then the ones that I've dealt with had to be shipped over to the US. And you just go, well, what, is there a plane just waiting, like staff ratings, like, rather than, come on, wake up, time to go.
I wonder if we've got any, do you know if we've got any facilities in Australia yet?
I think there is. There is a cryogenics organisation, but I don't think we hold.
That's got to be expensive.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Captain America was.
That's true.
He was, he was kept on ice.
If there was one celebrity who came out and said, I'm being cryogenically frozen, who would you not be surprised it was?
Oh, I don't know.
Mine's Donald Trump.
Yeah?
I reckon 100%.
He'd do it?
Oh, absolutely he'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because by then, the amount of time will have passed so he can run for president.
There you go again. I'm going for my second term. Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting. And like, why did Walt Disney and all of that, like, why are they still on ice?
I have no idea. Did I tell you the thing about, there was all these conspiracy theories about Walt Disney being cryogenically frozen, which has it been confirmed that he was?
Yeah, he's on ice.
Oh, okay. There were all these theories whizzing around about, or people were looking up stuff about good old Walt being cryogenically frozen. So they released the movie Frozen so that when you searched Walt Disney
it would
cryogenically frozen, it just came up with the Disney movie.
Yeah. That's pretty smart.
It is very smart. If that's the reason they did it. I mean, look, here's the thing. Regardless, I'm not complaining. Great movie. But,
some of the parodies for that is quite funny.
So funny.
Yeah.
Have you seen After Ever After?
No.
Oh, I'll have to show you. It's so good. It's so funny.
So, keep chatting. Keep chatting away there.
Keep chatting away. Chat. Next. What have we got next on thing? Oh, I don't know. My brain's gone blank now.
Isn't that normal?
Yeah. Nothing in my brain to blank.
All right.
Liquefying. How's that?
Like how does the body
how does the body go like that?
That's like a complete breakdown of.
That happens more towards like the 3 to 5 month mark, doesn't it?
Yeah, but if you got the right conditions, it can happen
pretty early. Yeah.
That wasn't me, by the way. Whatever that banging was there. Lots of noises happening.
Oh my goodness, I know. What are they doing?
Lots of noises happening outside. All right. Well, look, I think, to be honest, we have covered a little bit, or quite a bit.
We have covered
depending
quite
on
a
which
bit.
way. I mean, science. I mean, you could probably talk all day about it as well.
I think we've covered the most interesting parts because after all of that, it's skeleton. And I think everybody knows how that works.
Yeah. How does that work?
Well, Chris.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And as she floats off, love. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And we'll catch you next episode. Hope you've enjoyed. Bye.
Bye.